Hey y'all, new day, new verse as we continue on into Isaiah. And today today I'm recording the rest of it so I can actually post through this week, kind of catching up and finding that right time and place to do it, but finally have the energy to do it. So I'm very excited for that. And the fact that God is giving me the strength to do both and showing me where rest days are, it's showing me the importance of them. Because, when rest is a four-letter word, we fail to experience what it is to try and work from a place of rest. Because I get that idea, but I've never been very good at resting my body. I see other people doing and going, and so it's like, what am I going to do? And so learning how to actually be chill, it's a useful thing. And although this isn't necessarily digging into Isaiah, it's probably going to go up in a little bit extra. Because I don't know if this resonates for anybody else, but I'm hoping it will. Maybe it does. As I've experienced things, rest isn't a bad thing. And working from a place of spiritual rest. Physical rest is what I've never been very good at. And it ends up becoming borderline lazy, if I'm honest. And so that's why I kind of never been very good at it. Because, it's that twitchy rest where I want to go do something I'm not actually resting when it comes to the physical side of things. Or it's that I'm just going to let myself be lazy and, it's just that ugh side of things. Working from a place of spiritual rest, that I understand. It's taken me a very long time to understand it. And I understand it in the idea of not strifing against the universe, not trying to tell God how to do it, not keeping a grip on the wheel, rather moving through the unforced rhythms of grace. Katie, the beautiful illustration we were chatting about earlier about the flowing of the river. Yeah, you're not trying to force things, you're moving with it. Because it's the Lord's will be done, not our own. Right? We can either try and force our way of things, or we can actually let Him lead the way. And when He leads the way, it may take us through places that we may not enjoy. I mean, Job, right? Job is a righteous man. He deserved none of the crap he went through. Why did he did it? Why did he go through it? Job never gets told in his own story. I would offer that if Job didn't go through it, we wouldn't have a story of Job to be able to share in it. To be able to say, oh man, Job moments suck. Because if Job didn't go through it, if his story wasn't so well known, not just the pain and the agony and the difficulty, but also the fact that he understood what it was like to go through shoulda, coulda, woulda kind of friends. The ones that aren't necessarily helpful, the ones that aren't necessarily honest, true, kind, or loving. Sometimes those are the worst kind of friends to have. The ones that aren't going to just sit there and listen and be there. So Job, still going through, still listening, moves at it, doesn't try and force it, and he lets it out. He is honest, he's real, he's truthful. Lamentations is a book in the Bible for a reason, right? Psalms starts out in lamentation and ends in praise. There is a process to these things. The healing process, grieving process, call it what you might. Psychology is catching up today on what the ancients have known forever. And we're catching out slowly because for the longest time, I really do think in the West, we thought we knew it all and weren't willing to listen to the past. Something we'll actually dig into as we continue on through the week and through these passages, because it's not unique to us. It's unique to the species, really. Something that, and even that, not necessarily, because the angels had a fall too. It just as an offer there. Something to think about. If you're going from a place of spiritual unrest, learn to release it to the Lord so that it's easier to do. And you're like, well, how do I do that? Doing just that. I know it may sound like a bit of an oxymoron and remarkably unhelpful. As somebody who had a white-knuckle grip on existence to the point where if I couldn't control it, it set me into twitching, you just gotta learn to release, be willing to let it go. Be willing to understand that the more you try and control it, the less control you have. That the more you try and take, the less you actually have in the end. Also, the Atlas stone, the world weight, it's not meant to be carried. It's not ours to lift. It was on His shoulders when He was on the cross. We were never designed for it anyway. That weight is sin, failure, whatever form it may take. Sin, literally, moral failure. We roll these massive dung balls along through our lives. Baggage building up over time, again and again and again, until it takes over everything about us, until the very nature of it consumes us. It plants in something, births in something. Sin, birth, baby, death. I mean, it's all right through there in Paul's idea language. The more we hold on to the crap, the more polluted we get. But, I mean, that's logic. Just look at any type of stream. The more waste is near it, the more polluted it gets. The waste has to be dealt with. It has to be exposed to the sun. Because cow poop near a river, poison to people. Cow poop, exposure to the sun, the right season, fertilizer that helps things grow so that humans get even more food, as well as everything that we get to help support as stewards. So if you're dealing with the spiritual place, recognize He's got it. You don't have to. I know that's a terrifying idea to think that somebody else has it after all the times of being let down. To think that you have to hold it on, but I promise you, the more you let go, the easier it gets. Because you're not letting go out of giving up. You're letting go out of trust. It's not surrender as a defeat. It's surrender as in, okay, I don't know how to do this, but you can, and you do. The little kid taking the broken toy to their parent. Our lives are broken in many places. He wants to heal them. We just gotta let Him. And if you're like me, trying to figure out how to do rest in the physical sense without it becoming lazy, and enjoying the walk with me, as lately, as far as I understand it, is letting the mind play while the body breathes. And although I'm still working out what that means, maybe one of you knows better than I do. I just know that's what's there. The beauty of this is getting to share in it together. The Lord's speaking to each one of us. If we're willing to listen and share what He gives, His truth will be seen. And when we're able to ask the deeper and richer questions, 5 rabbis, 10 interpretations. How beautiful the mind that's able to look at things from so many different perspectives. If we truly embraced each other like that, would there be room for chaos to divide us? If we truly listened to each other with ears that seek the Lord, would we not hear each other? If we see each other through the eyes of God, whose fingerprints are on us all, whose hands made each one of us, whose breath is in all of our bodies as we live. His Holy Spirit, His Ruach, making us strong as believers as we chase after Him. I firmly believe there is a mystery here that we cannot fathom. But as we are all breathing in His breath, let us breathe in His life. He's using us all. We just gotta let Him, because He's using it all. Right? Because here's the idea, right? The using us kind of idea. From religion perspective, I'm not talking like an abuse of humans in the way we use the word use. I'm talking like, Genesis 50:20. He works all things to that good. In that kind of earthly definition of use, He uses it all. For us, it's having use. Talk to any person who has hit that phase of age and no longer feeling useful, and how draining and upsetting and tiring and weakening it is. Knowing one has a use, knowing one gets to be a part of it, because everyone here has a point for being here. Why would God spend the energy, the time, and the breath if He wasn't intending it? Well, then how do you explain some people come with some peace? I don't know. That's genuinely. There are sometimes when God will take somebody home because He knows what they're going to go through next. It's going to be too hard for them. There are some people He takes home because they're too good for this place. They're too beautiful for a place like this. And those of us who remain are strong. There are a myriad of reasons. God knows them all. And I ponder that part of the reason that we don't know might be so that we can trust that he truly does. We're all going to be together in his kingdom if we are truly his. So then why fear? We can dine at the table of Abraham if we are living the way he has called us. And more than that, we're saved by grace through faith. Then, hear me please. I don't think it's actions that save us in any way, shape, or form. The Bible doesn't say that at all. Religion might, but the Bible doesn't. I've just noticed in my own life that there's a distinctive difference between people who, and I'm talking to myself on this one, because I lived like this. If I recognize it in anyone else, it's because I hold the t-shirt. And getting rid of it, really a joyful thing to do. Because I've seen those places and lived those places where decked out with all the Christian gear, but not a life of it lived in a moment. Where I would bark at people who were trying to compliment me because I was playing into that silly, stupid mindset. And again, I'm talking to my past self on this one. When we understand that we are set apart, when we understand that we are loved, when we understand that the King of the universe thinks we're worth dying for, we can live like people are worth dying for. And for those who it's like, oh yeah, it's easy to die for somebody else, we can live for them too. We can live in such a way that people can see his hand, a city on a hill, salt of the earth, content with who we are, not living by airs. Simply living in love, whatever we are called to do. Serve, food, preach, mold a generation, help lift a kingdom up by helping a community out there. Listening to somebody doesn't know that they're hurt, smiling at somebody who doesn't know they're seen. An act of kindness to somebody who doesn't think they're worth loving. How much different would the world be if we simply lived like that? Life like that is a choice. And I think that choice is what distinguishes us as believers of the Anointed One, because the Christ did it this way. He is our master, our teacher, our rabbi, our king. If we are his subject, his students, his talmidim, if we are his followers, then should our lives not look like his? The King of all creation, who gave his life as a ransom for many, who came to serve, not to be served. No wonder Romans talks the way it does, about focusing on the master we truly serve. These actions we do are not because we think they will save us. We do them because we know how much was done for us. How could we not help do it for another? The parable, right? The servant came in owing $120 million. Pick a number, scale, inflation, whatever you want to do. Guy comes in. All right, let's do it my way, right? Guy's up in with the mob. Owes several $billion because he bet on the wrong team. He goes to the person. He throws himself on the ground. He screams, please, don't. No, we're going to put screws to you, your family, to everybody. Don't. I can't, please. My mom, my family, whoever, please, just please. And the pity so rends the heart, he forgives it. You know what? Stupid stuff happens. This one, I'll forgive you. Forgives him. Lets it all right. Signs it off. An act of pure generosity and kindness. Why? Simply because it broke the heart to see a man suffer so. To see another person broken and hurting. Seeing the miserable fool at the end of the rope and saying that. I've been there. Let me help. So the man who's forgiven much, he leaves. And he comes across another person who made a bet with him, person who owes him his money. And freaking out, he decides to slam this guy against the wall. Pay it up, pay it all up. $5,000. Oh, I don't have it. Well, pay it up. No, you can't. I'm going to put it through. Go start beating the crap out of this guy. That's what happens. The boss comes in. Really? I let up on you? You won't let up on somebody else? No. You're done for. If you don't have the compassion to pay it forward, did you understand what was done for you in the first place? Is it the same parable as Jesus told it? No, far from it. The idea remains the same. If you truly are forgiven much and will not forgive, are unwilling to forgive, do you understand that you were forgiven in the first place? No prayer, right? Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive others. And the very end of it, for if you do not forgive others, your Father in heaven will not forgive you. I know this has been a bit of a rambling shot through several ideas. These are just some of the things that have been on my heart, seeing in so many places. The world is screaming for war, barking madly at itself, ready to be ravenous at any moment toward anything that would disagree. If we're followers of the kingdom, then let us live a different way. Let us live in such a way that the snakes take cover, that the scorpions fall silent, and that the dragon falls deaf and dumb. We don't play those games. We live differently, simply because he lives in us, not trying to change the world, rather watching him change the world as we act hand in hand, arm in arm, strolling through the garden at rest. Genesis' invitation offered, the blood of the Lamb making a way, and all it takes is a thank you, and knowing, truly letting him show us what it means. May his favor be upon you. I'll see you then.